Something new is coming to your Xbox dashboard. Where did this game come from? This Xbox controller is trash. Let's discuss. What's up, guys, and welcome to Xbox Ready, the YouTube channel that works to keep you up to date on all things Xbox. I'm out here 3 days a week talking news, games, rumors, all things concerning Xbox. So first up, let's talk about the ID at Xbox showcase. I watched it just a few hours ago. I'm filming this on Wednesday, going up with the video on Friday for anyone who's confused. And for those of you who do not know what ID at Xbox is, it is a program designed to help bring indie games to the Xbox platform. So yeah, they had an impromptu showcase on Wednesday, and no, they did not show Hollow Knight Silksong. They didn't talk about it. No release date, none of that. The chat was going absolutely rabid asking for Hollow Knight Silksong. And I felt bad for the poor hosts, man. Glenn and Mav, they were sitting there like, oh, the chat's blowing up, ignoring all the stuff about Silksong, Silksong, Silksong. And man, if I was one of those devs who poured their heart and soul into their games and finally getting a chance to showcase them to the world, and the chat was only concerned about Hollow Knight, I would be pretty bummed. But even though it didn't make an appearance at this showcase, there were some pretty cool games showed off. The first trio of trailers, only one of them really stuck out to me, and that was Cassette Beast, coming to Xbox later this month. It's kind of like a retro Pokemon looking sprite game where you walk around and fight these monsters in turn-based combat, but you yourself turn into a monster to fight them. And again, very similar to Pokemon, if you want to transform into other monsters, you can capture them, and you can do a little fusion dance situation where you can merge to create some sort of super hybrid monster. And then they showed off a trio of what is usually referred to nowadays as cozy games, also known as games that my wife would really like. They showed off Coffee Talk Episode 2. Now, I never played the first Coffee Talk, but apparently you are a cafe owner in Seattle, and your customers are like these supernatural, fantastical beings. And then they showed off Homestead Arcana, and I know my wife is going to be into this. You play as a little witch, and you build your own little farm, you build your own little house, you change your outfits, and then you clear out miasma to do more of that stuff. And oh yeah, there's a talking cat. Then they showed off this super depressing game about this girl who dies, and then you kind of get to see the impact that her death has had on her friends, her family, her loved ones, the community at large. Whoever made the lineup for this showcase is a genius, because the next trailer after this, after they showed off all of these cozy games, relaxing games, depressing games, they came out with this trailer for the Explorator, which I had never heard of until today. The trailer opens with this like beautiful art, this amazing orchestral arrangement that swells as it shows off the different landscapes, and then the camera walks towards this beautiful flower that then turns into a screaming slug abomination monster that tries to attack you, and then your character takes out a shotgun, blows up the slug, its guts go flying everywhere. I was like, okay, you had my interest, now you have my attention. It's a first-person shooter where you're trying to navigate and find the lost kingdom of Atlantis, but you're also confronting all the dangers that all the explorers before you have encountered. They showed off this game called Little Guardsman that looked pretty funny. It was kind of giving me like Steven Universe vibes, and then we got a combat gameplay trailer for The Last Case of Benedict Fox, set to come out on Xbox and Game Pass April 27th. Once again, this is being billed as a fantastical Lovecraftian Metroidvania. And we only saw a little bit of gameplay, but the combat looks pretty cool so far. They did mention that it's meant to be precise, that you have to be deliberate, that you have to plan ahead with your combat. There is a mix of light and heavy attacks, and there seems to be a parry mechanic. They did say if you put up your guard at just the right moment, it reflects damage back at your attacker. I'm looking forward to this game. I'm cautiously optimistic. It looks very interesting from a design standpoint. Combat looks pretty solid, and they showed off this thing called like the Twilight Zone, Twilight Room or whatever that I thought was pretty dope. And then they finished the stream talking about the new expansion coming to Vampire Survivors. They're fresh off of winning a BAFTA over games like Elden Ring and God of War, which is awesome. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a pretty good show, not necessarily a home run. And I know these games, they're pretty underrated. They're not going to be for everyone. But I feel like ID at Xbox serves as a pretty interesting part of Xbox's overall identity right now. I know there's been a lot of pressure for them to put out the AAA games, the big first-party games, but the work that they do at ID at Xbox, I feel like rounds out the whole platform, the whole ecosystem. This video is brought to you by Raycon. I'm once again back to talk to you about my favorite noise isolating earbuds. You can't spell Raycon without Ray. I seriously use these earbuds every day. Literally, every day. They're amazing quality and cost a fraction of what other earbuds cost. These are the first earbuds that I've used that I don't have to worry about them falling out of my ear for whatever reason. I use them when I work out. I use them when I walk around my neighborhood. I use them when I ride on my motor scooter. They fit perfectly underneath my helmet. In terms of the price, you can get a pair of the everyday earbuds, buy a spare, and they would still be cheaper than what some of these other people are trying to sell you on. And even if they don't fit well out of the box, they have multiple gel tip options so you can find the perfect fit. These things have never died on me. They just keep going. They have up to 8 hours of battery life, and with the case, you can carry it around and extend that battery life. And I will say the mic quality for these things is pretty dang good. You can use them for phone calls, meetings, whatever. Click the link below or go to buyraycon.com/xboxready to save 15% off of your Raycon purchase. Thanks again to Raycon for sponsoring this video. Next up, let's talk about Minecraft Legends, set to debut on all platforms, including Xbox Game Pass on April 18th. So a couple of weeks ago, me and Jimmy got to go to a hands-on gameplay preview event hosted at the Microsoft Lounge here in Los Angeles. I was weirdly excited because after I saw this game at Developer Direct, I thought it looked pretty fun. And I say I was weirdly excited because I never got into Minecraft, like at all. Minecraft came out when I was in high school and I just kind of assumed it was a game for kids. I know. Minecraft has evolved into something much more than that over the years. This franchise has brought a lot of joy to a lot of people around the world. I'm continually amazed with the things that people build, the creativity that they show off in Minecraft. After watching a presentation by the dev team, we played about an hour of the campaign, which was meant to kind of set us up, get us familiar with the mechanics before we jumped into a PvP match with everyone in the room, 4v4. It was really cool to be able to play with everyone in the same room. It had that like old school LAN party kind of energy. It was me, Jimmy, a few other creators, people from Xbox, people from Mojang. By the time we got to the end of our match, we were screaming, we were yelling, we were cheering. Me and Jimmy's team won, of course. Minecraft Legends is an action strategy game. You'll spend your time gathering resources, building up your base, building an army, attacking your enemy's base, whether it be in PvE or PvP. I will say that the strategy elements in this game are pretty light, they're pretty relaxed, they're pretty rudimentary, especially if you play other RTS titles like Age of Empires. It's a little bit more accessible. In the first 15 minutes of the campaign, you'll get to know everything that you need to know about gathering resources, building your army, and just the general mechanics. That way you can jump in right away. And that accessibility might be a turnoff for some people, but that's not to say that there aren't some interesting strats that can play out at any given match. We definitely saw a few. And even if all of that knowledge flies out the window that you've gathered from the campaign about commanding your troops and building your base, it's still pretty fun to run around, gather resources. You can find other mounts on the map. I traded in my horse for a Cheshire Cat looking thing. It was like a purple tiger. Again, I don't know anything about Minecraft, so I don't know the specific name for this thing. Other people were trading in their horse for like a freaking beetle mount that can fly over enemy walls and cause all sorts of trouble. It's kind of hard to go super deep into these games when all you've had is, just a couple of hours with them. But I did want to highlight some things that I liked about the game, some things I thought were promising. First of all, they talked a lot about the procedurally generated maps for PvP. Of course, we didn't really see this play out because we only played one match on one map. The terrain is going to be different each match, therefore the game will unfold in a different way. I also liked how the maps were a little bit smaller. It encouraged you to engage with the enemy team much sooner. Literally, like I walked out of my base and I could see the enemy team already. I was like, oh crap, there they are. They did say that they expected most PvP matches to be like 20-ish, 25 minutes each. This game is coming out on all platforms, PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, PC, and there is going to be full cross-play support. Now, I know that might make people a little bit nervous considering that PC players and their keyboards are going to be in the same matches and the same servers, but I was playing with keyboard and I gotta be honest guys, because of the simplistic nature of the game, I don't see a keyboard and mouse giving any significant advantage over a controller. We were able to confirm that there is no battle pass, no seasons, no microtransactions. Again, I hate that that has to be a highlight, but I think it's worth mentioning. Again, the energy in the room at this event was great. I walked away from it excited to jump back into the game. They said they were going to send review copies to everyone, so if you want to hear my full thoughts, if you want to hear me go deep in Minecraft Legends, make sure you subscribe and check back in for that. Next up, select Xbox insiders are getting an update that will put a new Friends and Community Updates tab on their dashboard. It's being dubbed the Friends and Community Updates channel, and according to Xbox, you will be able to see achievements, game clips, screenshots, and text posts from your friends, official clubs, or games that you follow. To see everything in your activity feed, click into the Friends and Community Updates. You may also see Got Something to share your gaming moments, or clubs on Xbox to discover more on official clubs. I don't hate the features, I don't hate the Friends and Community stuff, the club stuff, but I feel like this update, this new section, is kind of going against what a lot of us want to see from this new look Xbox dashboard that's supposed to be coming out this year. I've spoke on this before, but I essentially want less stuff. I want less tiles, I want less ads, I want less clutter on the dashboard. I want it to be a more streamlined UI. And here they are, they're like, let's throw more tiles, let's throw in another section on your Xbox dashboard. I'm like, whoa, 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 what's going on? One of the last major things that we heard about it was that the dashboard was looking more like a full-fledged ad for Game Pass. And again, it's like, I'm not hating on Game Pass, I like Game Pass, but I want it relegated to its own section. Like, once I click on the Friends and Community tab, you can hit me with anything you want on its own dedicated page. I just don't want it to be all vomited onto the dashboard, onto the homepage. It once again has me looking back to the Xbox 360 days with the now legendary Blades UI. I feel like one of the things that people liked the most about that was that everything was sectioned off. It had its own little place. You flipped through it like a book. If you wanted to get to games, if you wanted to get to the social tab, it had its own place. None of it was intermingling with another section. Now, they have said, guys, give it up, we're not bringing the blades back. I would like them to revisit like the concept of the blades, having everything in its own section and not just like thrown all into one thing with a million tiles. Hopefully, ideally, the people who are testing the build can give enough feedback and Xbox will ultimately listen to them and change and backtrack on some of this stuff. Next up, let's talk about this new Xbox controller that is straight trash. Well, that's a bit of an exaggeration. This new wireless controller, being dubbed the Remix Special Edition, is made up of 1/3 recycled and regrinded materials. According to the Xbox Wire, some of these parts are reclaimed CDs, water jugs, and parts of old controllers. Once again, this is in celebration of Earth Day, and it comes on the heels of a number of things that Xbox is trying to do to be more environmentally friendly. Of course, I'm referring to the Carbon Aware update that rolled out to all Xbox consoles not too long ago, the Carbon Aware dev kit that some first-party studios have been working with, and now this new controller that is partly made out of old controllers. According to the Xbox Wire, they mixed post-consumer recycled resins with regrind consisting of previously molded colored parts to create a custom earth tone color with subtle variations. Each controller will apparently have different swirlings, markings, textures that will give them their own unique feel. Now, I think the concept of this is cool, taking something old, making it into a new thing. For the most part, I like the color. I mostly like the faceplate color, that kind of dark forest green. Not so crazy about the lime green D-pad and what looks like the triggers and bumpers. The backplate and the battery cover, again, they're a little bit questionable to me, but on the handles, it looks really cool. It's kind of like got that swirly wood finish look. I personally would have been happy if they went full dark green on the front and then on the back did full kind of the swirly wood finish kind of thing that they got going on. You can pre-order this controller now. It's going to launch on April 18th. It's priced at $85, which is obviously a little bit more expensive than a regular wireless controller, but you get the controller and a rechargeable battery pack to go along with, oh, don't waste a bunch of batteries, use this one battery over and over again. When it comes to my personal stance on sustainability, on environmentalism, I kind of like go back and forth on it, honestly, guys, because on one end, I'm like, yes, if we all collectively get together and make some small changes, it could have a big impact. But then I read things like, 100 companies are responsible for 71% of all carbon emissions. I'm like, well, damn. And then they try to make us feel bad, like, well, maybe if you didn't drink out of plastic straws, the turtles would still be alive. But the way that Xbox is kind of going about all this stuff, I feel like is pretty cool, pretty chill. And they're like, yeah, we're making this new controller out of recycled parts. We're bundling in a rechargeable battery pack. If you want to buy it, that's cool. But it's not like they're making all of their controllers do that. This once again has me wondering about a future where maybe Xbox, if they get cloud gaming up to snuff as like a viable standalone thing, would they consider rolling back the amount of Xboxes that they make? People hate it when I bring this up, but previously I bring it up in the lens of like Xbox becoming more of a publisher rather than a platform holder. Now I'm thinking like, okay, how far do they want to take this whole like environmentally friendly thing? Do they want to cut out on like pumping out a bunch of plastic boxes that end up as e-waste and then just switch to like the streaming only thing? It makes me very curious about the future of Xboxes. And I'm talking about like the deep future, guys. I'm not talking about this gen or next gen. Xbox is gonna stop making consoles. I'm talking about 15, 20 years from now, at a point where like maybe video games won't even exist, maybe we won't even exist. But whatever they decide to do, it's probably gonna be less about the environment and more about money. Xbox was kind enough to send one of these my way. I haven't gotten it yet. So if you're interested to see what this controller looks like in person, make sure you stay tuned. Follow me on Instagram at State of Ray. I usually post about my controllers on there as well. Anyways, guys, that's all the news I have for today. Thanks so much again for joining me, and we'll see you in the next video.